Welcome to Wrestling with the Paranormal, a place where you enter the ring and you don't know what you're fighting because it's paranormal.
Music's still going.
And we're zooming in. We're zooming in.
Air guitar!
I got to turn the music off, or you're going to keep going, right?
No, it's coming back. Okay.
There we go. If I don't turn that off, you're going to keep going.
Yeah, and my air guitar was actually out of tune.
It was a bit. I wasn't going to say anything because that's rude.
Yeah.
But
that's why I started with the drums. I was like, okay, my drums are ready to go. Air guitar's out of tune, but sometimes you just feel it. You just feel it so much.
I think the enlightened one is stepping up his game lately.
I saw something that he's doing advertisements now.
Yeah, he's pulling his weight here.
Yeah, well, he knew the sword was dangling over his head. If he didn't up his game.
Yeah, he needed to step it up, and props to him, right?
Yeah. It's hard to find good talent these days.
So let me introduce myself. I am the patron saint of professional wrestling. I am that gingered up, bubbly son of a bitch. I'm Canada Dry, damn it.
I'm also with you here on Wrestling with the Paranormal. I'm the patron saint of the paranormal. I'm the air guitar king, the master of the air drums. I'm Craig the Great, damn it.
All right, so today we got an interesting episode. We're calling this our Scary Highway episode. If you watch those scary movies, it's always some highway where there's a ghost at the side of the road or some weird thing. The highway is interesting because before the automobile, we had highwaymen. And what the highwaymen would do, they would rob anyone that would be going drive. With the invention of the automobile, it kind of ended the highwayman era. But something in the night about the highways is spooky, scary shit.
Well, you're all alone. You're not in the city anymore. You're far from civilization. All you've got is your car and your radio and your air guitar. And anything could happen. Have you ever seen, on that topic, have you ever seen the movie Big Trouble Little China?
I have.
This movie? Yes.
That's
and Jack Burton's the main character. And he's always talking on his ham radio. And he's like, this is Jack Burton here on the Pork Chop Express. Right? That movie was cool. Anyway, just so people know, Aaron told me not to mention this. I mean, Canada Dry told me not to mention this. But even though we're doing a show about scary highways and there happens to be a trucker protest happening in Canada, we just want to make it clear that this show has nothing to do with that.
No.
And we're 100% neutral.
I don't own a truck. Yeah. Do you own a truck?
I don't know anything about truckers except for the stories I'm about to read. Okay? So.
Yeah.
Just so people know.
Brent Barr says that was a great movie.
It was amazing. They were going to remake it with The Rock, but I don't think it ever happened. It didn't.
Okay, wait. You said The Rock. And if you're
they were going to remake Big Trouble, Little China, with The Rock as Jack Burton. It's true.
And does he say this then? Can you smell that? What The Rock is good.
He's not The Rock in the movie.
What? That would be better though if he was playing The Rock.
And he had to quit wrestling and he became a truck driver.
Yes, that would be a better movie. The Rock as The Rock.
Okay, he should play. Has he ever played The Rock in a movie? He hasn't played The Rock
No, but
in a
he
movie.
should.
Yeah.
I want to see. I want to see him do that. Welcome, Caleb, as well. We got Dallas, Caleb, and Brent watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Uh, so we're going to start off with our first story. And where's my notes? Damn it! I never have my notes ready.
So unprepared,
I know.
unprofessional.
Unprofessional. Maybe the enlightened one should take my job.
Tapping my notes as I wait to find my notes.
So the first story, it is from Jacob Claus. I don't know how to say his name. Anyways, he was an Estonian, and so he had a job that he had to leave the country, and he would spend a lot of time on the highways, going back and forth between Estonia and Russia, where he had his job. And on one such occasion, uh, he was coming home from a long day's long. Well, he would stay there during the weekend. We come home for the weekends. And on one such occasion, he just had crossed the Russian Estonia border. And what happened was he'd been driving for an hour, and all of a sudden there was this bright light that was approaching the back of his vehicle. And he was annoyed. He was like, "What the hell? What's this guy doing? Turn down, you know." It's annoying when someone has the bright lights. You want to turn them down. So he was like, I guess he was giving the guy the finger, and and
Whoa.
and and all of a sudden he was like right up behind him. If he would have slowed down just an inch, there would have been an accident. And so all of a sudden he feels the the hatchback in these cars. They have the hatchbacks.
Like a
The
trunk with
hatchback,
a window.
yeah, the hatchback all of a sudden undoes and flips up, and all of a sudden the light was gone, and he had to pull over on the side of the road, and he had to fix the hatch. And so he was expecting that car to drive by with his lights, and he was going to give him the finger or whatever, but it didn't happen. He put his hatch back on. He started driving again, and all of a sudden the bright light is approaching. And what he notices is that it's only a singular light. It's not two. So he figures it's a guy on a motorcycle just messing with him. So he's watching, and all of a sudden the latch on his hatchback opens up again. So he has to pull over, fix it again. And now he's like, you know what? I'm gonna turn around and go the way I came. I'm gonna find where that motorcycle is hiding, and I'm gonna give him shit. And so he starts driving, looking for where this motorcycle is. And sure enough, oh, I forgot to mention he locked the hatch.
The first time he fixed it.
No, the second time.
Okay.
So he had locked it. So this bright light is coming up again, and he's confused because he's like, "There's no way, no cars had passed me. Um, it it was going the other way." He's like, "What the hell?" So and it pulls up right behind him, does the same thing, and pops open the latch, even though it was locked.
Whoa.
And so he pulls over. He can't believe what's going on. What is this light? It's not a motorcycle. It's not a car. He's just seeing a light. So he's freaking out now. And so he decides, okay, I'm just going to go home. I'm going to forget all about it. Red bars, have them
Mhm.
lights, and is that a
I
spaceship?
was just thinking that light equals UFO.
Yeah. Anyways, so what happened next? He starts driving, heading home, and he gets driving for a little bit here, and all of a sudden the light's back. He's like, oh. He's like, I've had enough, and so he slams on the brake, and the light zooms over his car and flies off into the night.
Yeah.
And at that moment, he decided that he was going to quit his job and he would no longer travel these long, crazy distances for work. He got a job closer to home, and that was it for him as far as the highway was concerned.
So it's a happy ending in the end.
Yeah.
Maybe his wife was really sick of him having to do this commute every day, and she actually paid the UFOs to tail him.
Can you
And mess
wait?
with him.
What would you pay the aliens to do stuff like this?
How would you pay them?
What would you pay them? They don't want money.
Like, what currency would you pay them?
Yeah, like
Probably like sexual favors.
probes.
Probe favors.
Probe favors. Listen, I will take 5 probes to the ass if you do this. We're crazy here on Wrestling with the Paranormal. We got hijinks all over the place.
Yeah. Also, slight correction on your story. If he was from Estonia, then his name would be pronounced Jakob.
Was I calling him Jacob?
Yeah, Jakob is actually how you pronounce Jacob.
That's true, Jakob.
Yeah. Most people know
Sweden.
that. Most people know that. Estonian culture is like taking over. It's
so Brent asked us, have you guys ever seen a UFO?
Well, Brent is just derailing this show. Have we had a show about us talking? Yeah, we've had shows about us talking about our experience.
Yeah, we have.
With UFOs. Yeah.
I've never seen.
You got to go through the backlog, Brent. We've talked about this already.
But I've never seen a UFO.
Go ahead. You can tell him.
I've never seen one. Have you?
Well, I told you when I was a kid, I saw some strange lights. When I woke up really early one morning, there was all these lights like they were going through the window and then they were reflecting on the wall. And I didn't even want to look through the window because I was so scared. But it definitely was like really bright and like weird kind of colors and stuff, and it didn't make any sense to me. And we didn't live like our house was way off from the road. Like our house was like we had like a 4-acre yard. I lived in the country when I was a kid, and there was no way it was lights from the road. Also, our road was super not busy, so I don't know. Yeah, but that was that. And have I had any other experiences? Not really. I don't think so. Yeah.
It's dead air here, Craig. Dead air.
What? Oh, geez. Okay. Is it?
You're thinking along.
Am I supposed to tell a story, or are you going to tell?
Yes, we'll tell the story. Oh, tag.
Let's do this thing. Okay. I also have a highway story about a trucker who works for UPS. So UPS trucker, and this story happens in Washington, D.C. For any of our American listeners out there. Jim Wise is the name of this truck driver, and it happened in 2013. He'd only been driving for 2 months. I know. I'm sorry. Dead air. Now, usually, so he gets to this building that he doesn't want to say in the story what the building is, but it's Washington, D.C., and it's kind of like maybe a government building, probably a government building. And he usually uses an intercom to get into the building and then drop off his packages and leave. He tries the intercom this night, and it doesn't work. And he thinks that's pretty strange because he's got to deliver these packages. So he goes to the back of the building, and what he sees there really unsettles him. There's these 2 smaller buildings at the back of the building, and there's a walkway going between them, like a covered kind of sheltered walkway, And he sees 3 really tall figures. They look human, but they're 7 feet tall and they're super skinny. They're wearing dark suits and fedoras. So if anybody remembers our Man in Black episode, this is a typical kind of Man in Black encounter where it's like they're walking really strange. They're walking perfectly in sync, almost like robotic in a way. And they seem like their limbs are so gangly, like he's like it's off-putting seeing them, right? Now they disappear into the building. And he feels like this really, like, the experience is surreal and unnatural. But he's not scared enough to quit it, like, to not do his task. He still needs to drop off his package, right? Because these are important government packages. So he goes back to the front of the building to try the intercom one more time because he figures, I can't go back to the UPS, depot with this package. I need to have a good excuse. Like, yeah, they didn't answer the intercom, you know. So he tries it one more time, and somebody does answer this time. There's a doorman who answers, lets him in, and gets him to come into the building, which is unusual. Usually he can just drop off the package at the front. This guy gets him to come into the building, takes him down a hallway into this room where there's 4 of those super tall figures in the room, like standing around. And so I think you have a picture of it. Even. This is an artist rendition of what he sees when he enters this room. The doorman takes him in, kind of like makes him stand there, and he kind of doesn't want to be there. Like Jim Wise is like, I don't want to be in this situation. But the doorman closes the door, right? So you can see him there. He's got these 4 figures wearing dark suits, fedoras. Now the doorman starts grilling him and asking him like, "What did you see outside? Like, what did you see?" So Jim just kind of makes up this like excuse. He's like, "Okay, I guess this is a facility like for people who have muscular dysfunction," and like he just like makes something up because he doesn't want to be there anymore, and he doesn't want to be there in this room. So these figures are looking at him. Their skin is like pasty and waxy, and their eyes are like really weird and like boring like right into him. He feels like they're reading his mind as he's standing there. The doorman finally lets him go. Oh, he makes him drop the package off. So he makes him drop the package. Finally lets him go. But before he lets him out of the room, the doorman says to him, he says, "You're never going to be in this building again." And then 2 weeks later, Jim gets fired from his job. Weird. Both stories have people leaving their jobs. But maybe Jim Wise didn't really like being a UPS driver after this encounter anyway. But it was weird that he got fired from his job, almost like the government, made sure that he wasn't a UPS driver anymore. And then he also, when he later described the story, because he always thought like when he described it to friends and he started telling people stories, like there's something familiar about those figures in that room. Like what I was looking at, it looked like something I've looked at before. And when he was telling the story to somebody else, he finally realized what it was, is the 4 figures actually looked like corpses. Like they were like reanimated corpses. Yeah.
So almost like aliens were taking control of a corpse?
Could be. Like there is a lot of theories that Men in Black are either some kind of mannequin or like fake skin for aliens to wear. But yeah, they could be corpses.
Even in that movie, Men in Black, they had people in these sort of human suits.
Yeah, the bad guy is like a giant cockroach inside a big, right? Vincent D'Onofrio skin suit. So that's freaky though. Yeah, I mean, not really like the typical lonely highway story, more of a night trucker scary job story.
Okay, so we got a real trucker story here.
Man, we're full trucker this episode. This is like our trucker episode.
Highway episode, baby. This is a scary highway episode.
Power to the truckers! But this has nothing to do with that protest.
The truckers
nothing to do with that protest. It has nothing. No.
Anyway, so it was July 2014. A truck driver named Paul Drew, and this happened 50 miles north of Vegas. He was doing a meet and turn.
I bet he was. Just outside of Vegas, eh?
Oh, a meet and turn.
The old meet and turn.
So what a meet and turn is?
Oh, we know what a meet and turn is. No, I don't know what it is. Go ahead.
Brad Barr, we'll read your story in a minute here. So what happened was, what a meet and turn is when 2 truckers are meeting each other.
Yeah, I bet they do.
Just come on. Gotta let me tell the story.
All right, go ahead.
Are you gonna?
Yeah, I'm gonna
behave yourself.
I'm gonna behave myself.
Worse than the enlightened one, I tell you. So what a meet and turn is 2 truckers. They're meeting up and they're switching trailers and going back home. So instead of going the long way, they're both going the same way. So you might as well switch it up. So what Paul Drew, uh, he liked to arrive early to these meetups. And what he would do is he would try to get there like an hour early, and he would get a nice he'd get a nice hour sleep before this meetup, uh, and uh, and then he would continue on his way. Uh, on this such occasion, he had arrived an hour early, and he noticed that the lot was completely empty, which was odd because usually they aren't. There's usually a few trucks there, and sometimes you see some people from the trucking world, but um, not on this occasion. It was completely empty, and so he had began to doze off. And 10 minutes in, he starts hearing this dog barking, and his first thought was, "I'm 20 miles away from the nearest small town. What is a dog doing way out here?" And then he began to think, is it possibly a coyote? Then he's like, no, it's a big dog. It's too loud to be a coyote. It's got that, that heftiness to it, right? And so he peeks out and he sees the silhouette of a man, and he's really he's confused because he's like, well, maybe this is the dog's owner, and he doesn't get it. So then he sticks out his flashlight, and this is what he sees.
He could see that it was in fact the man who was barking. There was no dog. His expression was sinister, snarling and inhuman in the way his mouth twisted and contorted when making the sound, and his eyes looked beady and aggressive, almost like a hostile dog's eyes. His bark did not sound like a human trying to impersonate a dog. It sounded exactly like a dog. Paul was so flummoxed by what he was seeing that all he could do was stare at this apparently deranged individual. After a minute or two, he turned away to grab his phone, hoping to record the commotion on camera.
So he tried to grab his camera, and when he did, it was gone.
That would make me flummoxed as well.
That would make me quit being a trucker.
Did he quit? Oh my God.
Not that we know of. Not that we know of.
I mean, some people still gotta make some money.
Yeah, so what was it? Was it just some deranged guy who was playing a practical joke? But
or is just like really like disturbed,
Well, he said that it sounded like a real dog, not a guy.
Could somebody do like a perfect dog impersonation?
Or what you could
practiced
do,
for years.
you could do lip syncing to the sound of a real dog. Maybe he's got some device.
Oh, I feel like though that you would, yeah, but wouldn't you be able to tell it was just like a noise coming through a speaker and not like when a dog's barking, you can really like hear
some of those speakers now. They're pretty good. Those small speakers.
Yeah, maybe. I think it'd be more likely that the person had trained to bark like a dog for years and had just like, worked his vocal cords up to like be more dog-like.
Or it's not a human at all.
Or werewolf.
Possibly. What if it's a demon on the side of the road that's coming to mess with them?
Could be. Yeah.
Because it disappeared, right?
Yeah.
So who knows what that was all about?
That probably put him out of the mood for the whole meet and grab.
He's like, you know what? I'm not in the mood for this meetup.
I can't do this meet and turn. Usually I don't have performance problems, but
so is this a line you use on like Tinder or like Bumble or whatever?
The old meet and turn.
You want to have one of those meet and turns,
I'll meet you outside of Vegas.
and we will
Yeah.
turn like nobody's turned before, baby.
Now, I've got not just a story, I've got a whole new segment for the show.
What?
Wait, were we going to do something with the guy who was, what was his name? The guy who was just dropping us messages? Brent. Was it Brent?
Oh,
You want to read his story? Let's do that. You promised.
okay.
Here we go.
So Brent, so I have a story. My old neighbor from 10 or 12 years ago, he was a truck driver. Basically, he told me, hauling something from the military. He peeked under the covering saying it wasn't of this.
World.
Oh, it wasn't of this world. Okay, cool.
Brent, you are very clever. You didn't have enough room to write world, but you just put the icon for world.
That's so brilliant.
There you go.
Do you know what Brent is? He's like a little miniature Buddha with fur.
Well, I think
that, Brent, you pooped in the fridge and you ate a whole wheel of cheese. I'm not even mad. I'm impressed. That's amazing.
I was going to say that most of our viewers are probably really intelligent, but now I'm not even sure if the hosts of the show are very intelligent.
Well, that was a line from Anchorman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's what he said to his
I hope
dog.
Brent knew that and that you weren't just like, accusing him of pooping in the fridge.
I don't know if Brent knows that it's from Anchorman.
Okay, Brent, watch Anchorman and then you won't be offended anymore. Okay, that's a cool story though. Government truck driver. Ooh. Something in the back of the truck.
So he disappeared. He's no longer watching the show after giving that message.
Oh my God, maybe the CIA already got to him.
Yeah.
That was fast. They worked fast.
He's like, you guys, you're going to rat on us? You're the Men in Black came and got him.
Man in Black. Boom. Yeah, I mean, we get threats all the time on email. I just ignore them. I put them to my spam mail. I have a separate spam mail just for threats from the government. Don't even care. But I have, as I promised, a new segment for the show. I got a whole graphic for it. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
This is Random Reddit Story. Reddit Story. Random Reddit Story. Reddit Story. There's two colors of ink here. This is black and blue. Okay. Anyway.
You are risque with those two colors.
So what I've done is
funny because we have actual music we could play, but we're just making fake music.
Yeah. Because we're talented. We're so talented. Where's my notes for it? Okay, random Reddit story. So what I did is I went on Reddit and I typed in creepy highway encounter, and this is one of the first stories I got. This is from somebody named Seegerman. I do not have his permission to share this on the show, but it was posted 8 years ago. Okay, so
Seekerman, if you want us to not say this, you have like 5 seconds. Hold on.
Yeah, 1, you better be watching now.
2, 3, 4, 5. You're done, Seekerman.
I mean, no means no, but no means yes. So here we go. So him and his friend Tom. I mean, that's how it works. So
that'll hold up in court.
Him and his friend Tom driving down the highway. Now, what they had done that night is they'd spent the whole night having a blast at a casino. Okay, we've all had those nights. They played some roulette, they played some blackjack, wasted a bunch of money, probably had a few beers. But they're out on the highway now, and they have a first scare initially because they're driving, and all of a sudden a deer jumps in front of the highway. So he slams on his brakes, and like a couple of deer jump through the highway, right? And they're already like, oh God, so they're like already on edge. And then they keep going. And as they're driving, all of a sudden they see something like white ahead of them. And then Tom tells him, it's like, whoa, stop. It's a woman. And he stops the car, and there's a woman walking straight down the middle of the highway. Wow. She's got long black hair, no shoes on, just a white nightgown. So
look, Brent's back.
Hey,
we let him go.
We thought that the CIA got you. So
yeah,
we're really glad.
We're glad that you're okay.
So he's driving down this highway. This white woman's walking down the middle of the highway towards them. His friend's really getting freaked out. His friend Tom is like, "Man, we gotta like get out of here. Like this woman looks crazy." But Seegerman, the guy writing the story, he's like, well, maybe we should help her out. Like maybe she legitimately needs help. So he waits there while she's coming closer, and he rolls down his window and he's kind of asking her, like, hey, do you need help? Is everything okay? She gets close to the car and she just starts dragging her hand across the hood, but her expression is totally blank, like she's just looking up into the sky. So he closes his window because he's like, okay, maybe she's a little bit deranged or drunk or on drugs. Who knows? She just passes her hand along the whole car and keeps walking. Tom's like, hey, let's get out of here. She's gone now, right? And Seegerman still feels like maybe she needs some help. So as she's walking off the highway into the hills, he gets out of the car, puts his like hazard lights on, and starts asking like, hey, do you need us to call police or anything, ambulance? And as he's trying to keeps asking her things, she turns around and just starts screaming this like long, unending scream. So both of them just get right back in the car, and he just books it and bolts out of there because then he just got scared right when she started screaming at him. But he said it was very eerie, like just this eerie long scream, something that was like exactly from a horror movie. So
well, yeah, like a human can only scream so long before it's gonna start cutting out, and you only got so much breath.
Yeah. And that's when I think things got really unnatural. Like he realized later that like maybe this wasn't just like a woman, this could have been a ghost or a demon or anything. Who knows what was going on, right? So, but I mean, good on him for trying to be so helpful.
Right. I feel that's going to come up in the end of our show in the what did we learn sort of thing a little bit later.
You like to have a little moral, don't you?
I love morals.
We're just like trying to teach people about life and lessons.
Yeah.
So like the old cartoons in the 80s when they had
I love that.
Like the G.I. Joe would have a little moral at the end of the cartoon.
Yeah.
I mean, the moral of G.I. Joe was always that you should shoot terrorists because Cobra was terrorists,
Yeah. So we're going to play a video now.
Okay, good.
And so what I want you to do is I want you to try and remember at least 3 things. Is
this a spot the difference video?
No. I just try and remember some of these things that they list, okay?
I'm ready.
So this is the scariest road in the world. It's in Colorado.
Okay. Well, I didn't finish reading the last one.
The women have reported something funny on the west side of the road. This funny feeling.
Oh, okay. Not like they saw something funny.
So that was just packed full of different things in that short amount of time.
That's one highway in Colorado.
Yes. One road. It's not really. It's more a byway than
a road.
Yeah. So it's known as the most haunted road in the world because all that stuff happens.
But you realize this is the scary highway episode. Highway. And you're giving me
the byway, highway and byway.
No, that seemed freaky though. I mean, seeing dead bodies hanging from the tree.
Yeah, that's the one that really stood out to me. Was you're walking by a nice tree, and you see all these hanging people from it. Oh man! The one I thought was cool was the ghost Camaro. How cool is
A
that?
Phantom Camaro
Yes.
or a Phantomero.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
But yeah,
Okay, what do we got up next? That's it. We're out of material. Should we just do 10 minutes of dead air?
now remember in class when they would say like they just put your head on the desk.
Yeah, like the teacher would find somebody who did something bad. Like, oh, Jimmy, you did something bad. That's it. Everybody put your heads down on the desk for 10 minutes. That's it. We're all going to learn a lesson. You know what really happened is the teacher just ran out of stuff. They just didn't know what to do for the rest of the time. So they make everyone put their heads down.
It's like
Like, that's all that happened.
one of these little assholes is gonna mess up, and I'm gonna take
Yeah.
advantage of that shit.
Yeah, and it's your fault that we have to put our heads down on the table. Jeez. We're up to your tricks, teachers.
So Brent said they let him go, so that's
Oh,
good to
thank
know.
God.
We're worried about you, Brent.
I guess you got to be careful with your military stories.
Yeah.
Oh, we got news. I had news. Remember, I had news items. We were going to start
breaking
doing
news.
news.
Should we play the breaking news clip thing?
Breaking news. Hit it. You got it?
Okay.
Put your finger on the button. I got news for everybody. Okay, this is breaking paranormal news.
Okay.
Breaking news, everybody. I was looking at my Facebook today and I saw a story about Nicolas Cage and his pet crow.
Nicolas Cage has a crow.
He is a pet crow, okay? He talks about his life living with a pet crow. He likes how goth it makes him feel. Yeah, sure. Look it up.
Dude, I feel so goth right now.
Oh, yeah. But it really made me wonder, like, how do you keep a pet crow?
I'm thinking you have to get that crow pretty young, right?
And, like, just groom it to be okay with being your pet.
Well, I've heard of this before of people with pet crows, so it's not that strange.
I mean, they are really intelligent. Like crows are
super really intelligent, smart birds.
Yeah. But I just thought that was really interesting. Nicolas Cage is one of my favorite actors, and I'm not even being like, people who are like kind of like being sarcastic when they say that. Like they're like, oh yeah, Nicolas Cage, because he's in a lot of B movies, but I think he's actually a genius. I think he does things.
I think he did a lot of stuff better earlier in his career than recently. He's hit the bottom of the barrel. He's like, you know what? I need a pet crow.
He did hit the bottom of the barrel. I think the low point of his career is Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider's really bad.
No, dude, he's in that Christian movie Left Behind.
Is he? With what's the guy's name from Growing Pains? Kirk Cameron.
Yeah, not the original one. A remake of it.
Not the one with Kirk Cameron?
No, it's Kirk Cameron's not in it, but Nicolas Cage is.
I didn't know that. Of Left Behind.
Yeah.
Well, it's a series of books, eh? It's actually based on books. Yeah. I didn't know that. Okay, but have you seen Mandy? Mandy's really good. You should see Mandy. It's like a new horror movie that he made. Also, Mom and Dad. He makes really good horror movies. That's what I think. I think he's a good horror movie actor. Because he's really good at freaking out and screaming and just like, going ape shit,
So, what do you think about what is it about the highway that is drawing out these paranormal sort of things? Because there's nothing really there. There's not a lot of inhabitants there, right? So what's going on?
I think it's similar like when we were talking about Skinwalker Ranch. Like, why do ranches have paranormal activity like kind of attracted to them? And I think whatever entities are out there that cause these encounters, Devil's Mountain. That sounds scary. Wait, Devil's Mountain. No, I'm thinking of Devil's Mountain. I saw something when I was
You're thinking of deviled eggs. Remember you had that?
No, when I was a kid, me and my dad took us on a vacation through like South Dakota, North Dakota. We used to go through there a lot. And then I can't remember what state it was in. Yeah, the witch's castle. But there was like Devil's Peak, maybe, or Devil's Tower. And it's this really weird
Where
looking
is Devil's
like
Tower?
square mountain thing. It's kind of in the middle of the desert. It's almost like Aries Rock in
Okay.
Australia. Devil's Tower.
Okay, so
It's a national monument in Wyoming. Look it up.
so
It's
here's
kind of
something
weird.
interesting, a thought for you. So spiritually, um, if ghosts and demons are territorial, maybe they're assigned to a city. So on the way, they have to go the same way as us to get to the other city. They've got to go along our road, so they're just heading to another city possibly because their territory is no longer theirs, and they've got to find a new territory, or they're being assigned to a new place.
Or maybe it's like Ronin demons. They don't have territory, and the highway is more like a no man's land or a no demons land. You know what I mean? Like it's like not assigned. So they're like rogue demons.
Yeah, there's no people, then who knows?
I mean, we had an episode about ghosts, people who died in car accidents, and they haunt the highway that they died on, which makes sense.
Yeah,
Right?
such as
Like ghosts who didn't even know they were dead because the car accident happened so suddenly they don't even realize that they're
the
ghosts.
one in Colorado there seemed more like bad stuff kept happening and opened up some doors there.
Okay, do you think that the gates to hell could exist on Earth?
I don't think so.
That's just an exaggeration.
Oh, it's totally it's just hyping some up. I don't think that there's the gates to hell on Earth because I think hell is in the third dimension, right?
It can't be physically connected to Earth. There's no way to get there unless you die.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah.
You know what scared me when I was a kid? That movie Ghost, which we've talked about on the show before. But at the end, when the guy gets sent to hell, this demon, like the things, like drag him into the ground. Like his ghost is being dragged into the ground, and he's like screaming. That terrified me. That was really scary. Have you seen that movie?
It was a really, really good movie. That and Flatliners kind of did that as well.
Whoa, Flatliners is freaky. Man.
The first Flatliners, not this remake they did a couple of years ago.
I heard the remake's really bad. I haven't seen it, but the original one, there's like a kid in like a red hood or something, right? And he's like hunting that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's scary. That's scary stuff.
I was trying to find that movie the other day because I was like, you know what, I'm going to rewatch this.
That movie is Joel Schumacher. That's the guy who made Batman and Robin and like the bad Batman movies. Batman Forever, yeah.
Yeah, the bad Batman movie.
The bad Batman movies.
That would be a good name for a Batman movie, the bad Batman movie.
I'm pretty excited for the newest Batman movie coming out.
I am too. I'm pumped up.
Trailer. Oh yeah, you like Batman. You're a big fan.
I am a big Batman fan. Yeah, I collect Batmobiles.
Like real life-size Batmobiles?
No, I can't afford.
Where do you keep them?
No, I collect Hot Wheel Batmobiles and.
Do you have a Lego one? The Lego made Batmobiles too.
I don't have the Lego one. I'm not that into it.
Okay, what's your favorite Batmobile? Like, which movie is your favorite Batmobile?
Oh,
are you a Prowler guy? You like the Prowler?
Or
Tumbler? You like the Tumbler? That's what's called, Tumbler.
I like Batman the animated series.
Oh yeah. It's like super long, isn't it? It's like it's like a limo size. Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, the Tim Burton one is pretty cool. That's the one.
The newer ones, like the Tumbler from Christopher Nolan movies, and then the new ones from Batman versus Superman, they're too tank-like. Like they're more like a tank.
Yeah, so animated is based on the Tim Burton one. So I think Tim Burton and the animated one, I picked those two right there.
I think the new one with Robert Pattinson is it looks like a souped up Camaro or something. The new Batmobile.
Yeah, that should be interesting.
It's more like a.
But that's cool too.
I think so. It's a different twist, right? Like, why not do something different? Like a little bit. He seems more like he's a little bit like a do-it-yourself, like ground up kind of Batman. Like he doesn't look like he has fancy tech. like from a huge corporation. It just looks like he's putting stuff together himself, kind of thing.
The only thing I don't like about we're going off the rails, just Batmaning it up. The only thing I don't like about this new Batman movie is it's starting the franchise all over again from start, and we've seen the Batman story over and over again. Like, I would rather.
I feel like they don't have to do the origin. Like, they don't have to show his parents getting shot.
They will.
They might. Well, some people are saying if you look at the close-up of the suit, the bat symbol on his suit looks like it's made out of the parts of a gun. And in the comics, I think there was a time when he had actually made the emblem out of the gun that had killed his parents. He had gotten the gun and he made part of his suit. Just
what I would have liked to see, I would have liked it to be an older Batman, not super old, but the current comic Batman. That's who I'd want. That age,
right? But no spoilers for the new Flash movie. But Michael Keaton might be coming back as Batman. And there you go. He's old. So there you get your wish. You get your old.
So Brett Barr is trying to get us back on topic. The first killings that happened at Devil's Mountain on Halloween in 1969 were most likely some of the most gruesome ever in the annals of American history.
Annals of American history.
Annals.
Keep it clean here. Jesus, man.
I'm
Brent's
trying to be with truckers.
You know what? Brent, are you looking for a job as a host of a paranormal show? Because I'm thinking about getting a new host. Not naming any names, but I might replace somebody.
Now we got the enlightened one with the sword over there. We got me with the sword over my head.
I'm firing everybody. You're
fired. You're fired.
You're fired. You're all fired. I don't need anybody. Anyway, so this has been a great episode about scary highways, Batman, randomly, and crows. Okay? Yeah. You get it all on Wrestling the Paranormal. You get
and the scariest road in the world.
Yeah, gates to hell.
It says it has gates to hell.
False advertising. That's what we decided. Yeah, I think most of the stories we told were pretty likely. I think they were more disturbing and they didn't seem that outlandish. Some of it, most of it could have just been really disturbed people, like the dog barking, the guy barking, right? Who knows? But if you're out there on the highway, stay safe on that highway.
So you know what I learned from this episode?
What did you learn today?
I learned that sometimes that no matter how much hell you go through on the road to where you're going, home is always around the corner. Home's always around the corner.
They don't give out Oscars for podcast performances.
They should.
I don't know if is that your Oscar video material?
What did you learn?
What did I learn? I think people were stopping. There's, whoa. Look at this. Brent Barr is just feeding us material, eh? Total media blackout. Whoa. That's suspicious. That is suspicious. Yeah, this highway is a scary place. We've talked about it before on the show. People are alone. It's late at night. Maybe try to plan your trip so you don't have to drive around late at night. That could help.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. Yeah. And now I'm still doing my outro. You got your finger on the button? I'm going to do my outro.
What? You're doing an
outro. An outro. It's the opposite of an intro. It's the outro.
Oh, I've never heard of an outro before. Okay, right. So I guess that's our show.
Tell them where you can get t-shirts.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell. Visit effandwrestling.com. Don't finger me. Are you fingering them?
No, I'm just showing them the logo for Effin'
Wrestling. Oh, okay. Yeah, you got to do two. It's this
logo.
Yeah. Visit effandwrestling.com. visit Pro Wrestling Tees/F and Wrestling. And so your outro.
T-shirts right there. There's the logo. Okay. Remember, everybody, keep on wrestling paranormal.
Oh,
Go Canadian truckers, go truckers, you can do it.
Whoa. Hey.
Woo!
Oh man, we forgot to end the show. What are we gonna do now?
Wait, you caught that on camera? I was actually talking about the truckers. That's not neutral.
Oh,
just to make it clear,
see you next week,
this show
everyone.
has nothing to do with that
See you
truck
next week,
protest.
everyone.
Never, nothing to do with it.
See you next week, everyone.